Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies, bringing you another tutorial in the League of Votann series. This time we're going to be focusing on the Iron here Hearthguard. These are one of my favorite units from the new collection of models, and I'm very excited to get these guys painted up for you in this video. This set, along with all the other League of Votann stuff I have, was very kindly sent to me by Games Workshop for review. Yeah, very excited. Thank you very much for that. So stick around, guys, and enjoy the video. Okay guys, and as usual, I have chosen the Sergeant of the Squad to do for the painting video. I have yet to glue on his trophy rack thing on the back, which it actually has specific rules, so I'm not really sure which one I want so far. So that's why that's left off. And I also haven't glued on his grenade launcher that sits on his back because I forgot. Shh. The miniature was sprayed black and then sprayed grey sear. After this, I moved over to the Blood Angels Red contrast and went basically all over the entire armor, avoiding the gun and the pipe work because we're going to be doing that a different color. We will be doing a different color on some other bits and pieces of the model, but you don't need to be too careful, as they're either going to be darker colors or they're going to be metallics, so they will go over the red absolutely no problem. So take your time, get a nice solid coat of the Blood Angels Red contrast. Don't need to worry too much about streaking or pooling or any of that kind of stuff, because we will be doing a lot of layering on this miniature, so you don't have to worry about that. Next, we're going to jump over to Black Templars contrast, and we are going to hit the parts I said don't hit with the red and now. So the pistol, all the pipe work, there's some on the back of his leg. I decided to do the center of his helmet, so his big mask, in black as well, just to break up the quantity of red. And then I also decided for his big augmented, basically a power fist, I decided to do all the fingers and inside the palm black as well, just to balance out the black in the middle, on the model, sorry, be the face and both weapons on the end. So create that really nice pyramid of color, which should break up the amount of red. I already love these miniatures. I want so many more. From here, we're going to jump over to Retributor Armour Gold, and we're going to hit all of the glyphs that are on the model. And this has quite a lot of inset glyphs, and all I did was paint over the lines very carefully with a fine pointed brush. I consider myself to have quite a steady hand. For those out there who don't have as steady a hand, it is okay if you hit some of the red parts. Like I said, we're going to be doing double layering on the red after we do the wash stage. So don't worry too much if you overdo it a little bit with this. Don't panic. It can all get tidied up as we move forward. It's very therapeutic, this part. Here are all of the gold bits, and like I said, there's a bit hidden at the back, and his shoulders has a bit inset and stuff like that. Next, we move over to Iron Hand Steel, and we use this to block in the rest of the metallic colors on the miniature. So there's some like pistons and stuff on his center torso, and then there's a lot of parts on the pistol itself. Basically, the main part of the pistol is silver, and then I put the casing that goes on top of it black. So you're going to paint in past the black to all of the kind of casing parts and do those in silver. There's also like couplings that hold the pipes to the suit, to the gun, and to the power fist. And I just did those in a little bit of silver as well, just to break up the kind of boring black piping without adding a weird extra color that will draw your eye. From here, I believe all of the base coats are now applied to the miniature, so it's time to add the shade. So for this, we're going to go for the new Reichlin Flesh shade, which is what I've been doing on all of my Leagues of Votann so far. So obviously I wanted to match in, and I'm going to apply this to absolutely every inch of this miniature. Reichlin Flesh shade acts as a beautiful shade for both gold and red. It's not the most ideal for the black parts, but obviously we're going to be layering those up as well, so it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. So I'd rather put one solid coat on the entire miniature to protect the whole thing, and then layer up from there. This also pulls all the tones kind of closer together, so it all looks like it matches. I also took the opportunity to base the model while the shade was drying. Now for the two stages of layering we're going to do on the armor, we're going to start with Mephiston Red, and all we're going to do is paint up the armor again, but we're going to leave all of those shaded details in all of the lines. So it's quite easy to see on this armor where all of those lines are. Like you can see that he's got the kind of rigid plates down the center of his chest, and you can see the dark line underneath each of those. So those are the kind of parts that you do not want to color back in with the paint. As you can see where the knee joint meets the thigh joint, see that dark line there? Don't fill that in. those are the kind of shadowy areas that we're trying to leave to break up the huge quantity of red. This is something that the more you do, the more you'll get used to where color should go. I'm still by no means an expert on it. I struggle severely with kind of color placement and stuff like that. I mean color light placement, finding a light source and then figuring out the shadows from that. I'm not very good at that particular part. So I just go for kind of all of the creases between panels and stuff like that I do with the shadow and the shades. This is actually the part of the painting that I actually enjoy the most. When the model is all base coated and washed and I get to start layering it up, I love it. Keeping it neat and tidy and kind of getting to that finished result, it's really good. Sunz Scarlet was used as the next layer on top of the power armor, the exosuit, sorry. This is basically the same as the previous step, but just not as much. You want to hit kind of the higher areas. You want to keep the creases even darker, so you're going to stay further away from those. And then just give them the nice Sunz Scarlet layer, which will just make the armor really, really pop. Mephiston Red is a nice color, but it's a little bit flat. Sunz Scarlet does not suffer with that problem. So that's a beautiful color to finish off the miniature's armor with. And there we have it. That is the red armor finished. Now it's time to do all the details that go alongside that. So we're going to start with Corvus Black. And we're going to layer up all the black parts. So obviously all of the casings on the pistol, the fingers on his power fist, and his faceplate. I didn't bother trying to touch up the cables. I just left them as the contrasted and shaded. They look perfect as they are. They're not focal points of the miniature. No one's going to be picking it up and looking at how you painted the cables. So don't worry too much about those. Once again, we're trying to avoid all of the parts we have done silver and leave the shaded Black Templar in all the recesses. Because Corvus Black has a touch of grey to it, it acts as a really nice highlight for black parts on a miniature. Looking slick. From here, we're going to go over to Ironbreaker, and we're going to highlight all of the metallic parts with this, and I mean all of the metallic parts, both silver and gold. So with the silver parts, it's a highlight pretty much like we did the red on the red panels. All we're trying to do is leave the dark shadow in all the recesses and hit all of the kind of flatter parts of the miniature with the Runefang steel. When we hit the gold, that's not what we're trying to do. We're just trying to put basically a dot of silver on all of the sharp points, all the corners. And this acts as a really nice highlight for the gold. It's super quick to do and does genuinely leave quite a nice result. It takes absolutely 2 seconds to do. Now it's time for all the glowing parts on the miniature. So for this, I grabbed my trusty white. I choose a bold titanium white from ProAcryl, but any white that you trust and you really like using, just grab it. And you're going to paint in, if he has a visor, obviously you can choose to paint up the face. If he has a visor, you want to do the slit across the visor, and then all of the light sources that are across this armor. So most Leagues of Votann have basically got an Iron Man chest, so they have a light right in the center of the chest, and this guy has one in his lower stomach as well. So all I want to do is hit those parts with the bold titanium white. The pistol he's carrying also has coils on display through an open port on both sides. So I decided to do those like plasma. I can't remember whether I gave these guys specific plasma, but it feels like plasma. So I did the weapon in that as well. After that white is dry, I move over to Talassar Blue, and I just give those white parts a coat of Talassar Blue, and it immediately makes them look like beautiful glowing parts on a miniature. Here are those open coils, and then all of the kind of slits at the front of the weapon I was also done with it, and then just add a little dot of blue into each of those parts. And here is the miniature finished with paintwork. But obviously there's one more step that we need to do, and that is of course to add all of the beautiful transfers to it. So I decided to give him the 5th squad icon, and I'm going to be giving all of my exosuits the 5th squad icon, and of course the conglomerate symbol on the other side. And with that finished, there's nothing left to do but give you a nice 360 of the finished result. The deep color red Doesn't come out quite under the fluorescent lights of my painting lamp, but as you can see it on the 360 here, this is the true look of the miniature, and I'm absolutely delighted. Cannot wait to get the other 4 painted up. And there we have it, a beautiful Iron Here Hearthguard painted up in my conglomerate color scheme. I absolutely love how it turned out. I have another 4 of these guys to paint, which I'm going to do on my streams over on Twitch. If you haven't seen me over on Twitch, I stream every Tuesday and Thursday evening between 8 and 10. So if you're curious, come check me out there and come hang out and say hello. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit the like button. If you have any comments about or anything that I did, put it in the comments below and I will get back to each and every one of you guys. And if you really like my work and want to support me, there's 2 very easy ways you can do that. 1, hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. That means the world to me. And 2, if you want to go the extra mile, there's links to things like my Patreon below, which will give you access to a private Discord server where you can join in with me and the rest of my awesome community with cool events like showcases and painting competitions and the like. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one.